Guys, first of all, just a couple quick things. If you're a guest with us, welcome. You're always welcome. We're here every Tuesday. We do this every week. We're actually here 4 days a week. Just so you guys know, tomorrow we are doing our Wednesday mastermind like we always do. However, tomorrow is the last Wednesday mastermind because we're moving it to Friday. Not a big deal, but the big agent meeting with EXP is moving to Wednesdays, and so we're going to flip flop those days. We want people to come to that meeting on Wednesdays with EXP. So we will be here tomorrow, just because it was last minute. But starting next week, the Wednesday mastermind will be moved to Fridays. Okay, so just so you know, so we Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That'll be our schedule as far as EXP and Freedom Team. So anyway, guys, today, every Tuesday, so good. Every week, man, we just got great stuff going on here. Last week was amazing. If you haven't watched that recording, definitely watch it. Corinne DeFilippis, man, she was sharing about expired listings. Phenomenal. One of the best expired listings trainings we've had ever. I'm really going after that now. Jim, I know you are starting to go after that too. It's a big part of the market. But guys, today, Russ Laggans. Russ says, how long have you been with EXP, Russ? How long have you been over here now?
Which time? I did a little 2018, mid 2018, the mid 2020 run, and then came back at mid 2022. So I've been back
Okay.
4 years.
There you go. Well,
4 years
it's
as a
been
4 years as an executive.
there
Executive.
you go. So yeah, Russ has just an amazing background. His story. I mean, you look at his history with real estate and what he's done with different companies and brokerages and trainings and stuff that he has done is phenomenal, and just been a huge part of what EXP has done and the growth of EXP and the training of EXP. He's now vice president of training, working right there with Brian Ellington and EXP University and all the stuff. I know you just did that Instagram class. You've done that a couple times.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff going on. So anyway, we wanted to bring Russ in. He's taught before us several times. It's been, I don't know, probably a couple years since you've been here, but just great to bring you back and refresh us on a bunch of stuff. The market's always in flux and changing, and different, kind of all over the country right now. It just seems like there's just pockets. Some markets are man on fire, others are
Yeah.
like tumbleweeds rolling through. But there's always work out there. There's always business. You gotta, know
Yeah.
where to go to find the business. But Russ, why don't you
Yeah.
take it away, man? I know you got a lot of things to share with us today, so we
No
appreciate
worries.
you being here, man. Thank you so much. I know you're busy, so
Yeah, no worries, Jeff. So thanks for inviting me back. It seems like forever since I've been there, been here, which is wild because it seems like yesterday at the same time because I've been 4,000 places between. So it's kind of funny in some ways. You feel like you've been here forever, and then it feels like you just got here yesterday, and that's what it's like. So with that being said, Jeff, like let's stay a little bit engaged in this conversation. Why don't you guys engage me in this conversation, okay? Because I know you probably get a bunch of people up here and a bunch of people talking at you. And like when we do a lot of university stuff, we talk at people because when you've got 400 people on a Zoom, you can't, you open it up for engagement. Next thing you know, Mark's like, hey, Russ, we got 30 seconds. Can I pull my guitar down and sing you a song? I think it's a little off topic there, Mark, but so we get that kind of fun stuff. So it's a challenge when you got a bunch of material to go through. So I want to open this with you guys and have a conversation with you guys. Let's make a list of a couple of things that you guys want to talk about. I think there's one thing I want to make sure you guys hear from me, which is a little bit of market perspective, because the market is all over the freaking place. And depending on where you are in the country, it's all over the place. And I have a very, very unique view in that I'm at 30,000 feet, 34,000, 35,000 feet, a lot in airplanes flying around seeing you guys live. But I also get to see what's going on a national level, so you have a bigger, broader understanding. So there's micro markets, there's macro markets, and then, of course, we got the whole national market that really changes the way you start to see things. And the way you digest information right now is a little bit weird. And I got some really kind of weird stuff on AI that I've been playing with. That's super easy stuff because, guys, I'm not a tech person. So I've found super easy uses for AI on certain things that really make sense to help your business and speed things up instead of giving more crap to do. Okay. Have you guys ever heard of the cotton gin? You guys remember the story? Do you guys know the story of the cotton gin? Yeah. So the cotton gin. So back in the day, slavery's doing its thing, right? And this guy comes out and he's like, you know what? I'm sick of watching this. This is crazy. People can't live like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invent something that makes it easier for these poor people out there, the slaves that are out there in the fields picking cotton. So he invents this invention that makes it way easier to clean cotton. And then what ended up happening is it backfired on him. So what originally he had built to actually make it easier on the people in the fields actually made it 1,000 times harder, because now the people in the fields had to pick more cotton to keep up with the cotton gin, and the cotton gin actually made their lives more miserable, right? So it was a good intention that backfired on the guy, of course, and we know how this story ends, and been the Civil War and the rest of this things go along with it. But like when you start thinking like some of the things that we intend to do, and some of the things that we intend to say, and some of the things that we intend to accomplish, we start doing things and building things and growing things and learning things that make it better. And sometimes it just backfires on our ass, right? Sometimes we're like, So AI right now, guys, for a lot of people is not actually making it easier. It's actually making it more work. And so like, I got to learn one more thing, right? So we've got to start thinking through like, what are the things that are super, super important in this market? What are the things that actually move the ball? What are the things that actually get me to closings, Jeff? What are the things that actually make things happen and actually make people say, I want to do business with you, Jeff? So we've got to get super clear on that, right? We've got to get super intentional with that, and it'll save us a bunch of time and save us a bunch of effort, and it'll also stop us from wasting time on things that waste our time. How many of you guys have actually done something and you're like, I'm going to get this tool, and then the tool actually made it harder? Or you get the tool and you're like, this is such a pain in the ass, I'm not using this stupid thing anymore, right? Some of you guys are like, I have one of those in my garage. I call it a Bowflex. How many of you guys have a treadmill? Treadmill clothes rack, right?
I've seen one
a stationary bike clothes rack, right? So there's times when we do these things and then it just doesn't make sense or doesn't work. It doesn't work with the way we intended it to. And I want to make sure you guys are clear what my position on AI is right now, because you guys are hearing that everywhere, aren't you? You guys tell me, are you hearing like AI everything? Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What is AI for?
Make somebody rich.
What is it for, guys?
To simplify my life, honestly. I like it. It makes
Automation.
Yeah. Automation.
Okay, good. So are there things that you're doing repetitively that you can use AI to actually simplify? Sure, great tool. Mm-hmm. Are there things that you can do with AI instead of going into the MLS manually? You can go on Gemini and ask Gemini to tell you what all the market stats are. Gemini will go into your market stats in your MLS and actually pull the information you're asking for without you even having to open your MLS. Did you know that?
I have not done that.
A lot of people don't use so let's go overarching big picture, okay? Right? Overarching big picture. Your business right now, this is your business. This is all of your business, right? Here's your whole pie. Whatever size pie yours is. You might have a 2 pie, you might have a 12 pie, you might have a 36 pie, you might have a 75 pie, right? 2 sales, 3 sales, 25 sales, 75. Whatever size your pie is, right? And you take that pie and then you say, okay, what are the things that make up my business, right? What are the things that are actually driving business? What are the things that are actually making business come to me? Do you know what those things are for you guys? Have you actually sat down and went through your past customers, the ones that you just did business with in the last year or two, and said, where do those people come from? Okay, so when we actually run these numbers and run these metrics, guys, this big portion of the pie, 70+% for most people, almost always comes from one source. Do you know what that is? Sphere of influence. There are some people that 90+% of their business is sphere of influence, and every once in a while they get a referral here and there, or they'll get something from somebody that they don't really know or didn't connect with, or somebody randomly connects, like outside social media connects to something like, hey, I saw you were in that market, and they get one here, one there. But when you're looking at normal real estate agents, most of you guys are out there. Most of your business is coming from your sphere of influence. How many of you guys are doing lead generation, buying leads online, paying money for leads? Okay, let me show you some statistics, guys. You ready for this? I'll show you some statistics because I want you to be really clear that you're working on the right stuff. How many of you guys have ever walked through a room in the dark? like middle of the night, no moon, lights out, you don't have night lights, and you're creeping along and you're trying not to stub your toe, right? Like, how fast can you move through a room, Jim, if it's completely pitch black?
If I know the room, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, right. But if you don't know the room, you're going to creep along really slow, right? But if I flip, even if you don't know the room, as soon as I flip that light on, you can zip right through the room, right? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to flip the light on for you guys so you know you're walking on the right path and go, okay, got it. Now that I see that, boom, now I can walk with authority. I want you to walk with authority and walk with conviction, because the real estate market right now is being pushed and shoved and shoved and pushed into thinking like AI is going to be X amount of your business. Listen, guys, AI is not going to be your business. AI is a tool. My hammer is never going to build a shed. I'll build a shed with my hammer, but my hammer will never do it without me, right? Are there some things in AI that you can automate that makes it easier and say, okay, hammer those 12 things? Sure, absolutely. But when people are starting to think like, well, AI is going to replace us. Well, absolutely, AI can replace you if you bring no value and you do not have a relationship, right? So we've got to start thinking, what is my business? Where's my business? Why is my business? And why do I lean into the thing? So when we're talking about all of these things, I want you to think of AI as a tool that helps you build something. And that build something is building a stronger relationship. So when you take that tool and use it to build a stronger relationship, it actually helps and enhances the business that you're already doing. Okay, so let me give you a couple statistics here. You ready for this? 1.8 to 1.2, 63%. What's the other one? 8%. I'll give you the other one afterwards. Okay, so let's go through a couple numbers here. 0.8 to 1.2%. When how many of you guys love National Association of Realtors? Anyone? You're like, they're awesome. They do such a great job for me. They've done such a great job for our industry.
They're terrific. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there's some feelings about NAR. Okay. There's some things I love about NAR. There's some things I don't love about NAR. And let's be fair, Kristen, since you said you like NAR. Okay. So let's be fair. I don't even like myself 100%. So I'm not being unfair. Okay. I'm like, I don't like anything 100%. I don't even like myself 100%, right? So that's the filter I use with my wife too, by the way. Like, I can't hold my wife to a standard that I can't hold myself to, right? Like, I don't like my wife 100%, and she doesn't like me 100%. And we're good with that, right? Like, listen, if you're north of 80% on most stuff, you're doing pretty damn good. If you're north of 90, you're freaking killing it, right? I will say there's about 10% of the time I'm not super proud of everything I'm doing, right? Hey, maybe could have drank a little bit less of that wine at that party, or maybe I should have worked out a little more, or maybe I shouldn't have ate that at 12 o'clock at night, right? There's a bunch of that stuff that goes along. So with NAR, there's a couple things about NAR that I really love, okay? NAR is really great with statistics. They're really great at having statistical information. It's a great cross-section of our market. So last year, NAR did a study, and they asked the agents that are tracking lead generation. Okay, so Mark, you're doing some lead generation. Are you tracking your results? Are you tracking your inputs and tracking your results? The people that are tracking their results are the people that they surveyed. Okay, so now let's be clear, guys. How many realtors do you think do lead generation and pay for lead generation and actually don't use a CRM and don't track the results? The answer is an astronomical number, right? Like, I don't know if anybody actually knows the real number, but it's a lot of them, okay? And by the way, I was the same thing for a while until I learned better, okay? So can we agree that the people that actually track their numbers are probably a little bit higher level, and they're going to probably have the best conversion because they have a tracking system, they have a CRM, they know what their numbers are, they know what their metrics are. Those are the people that are more likely to have a lot higher number of conversion. Would you agree? Okay, so NAR goes out and does a study and says for the people paying for lead generation online, the closing rate for the people generating leads online was between 0.8 and 1.2. And you might say, well, Russ, why 0.8 to 1.2? Well, because Jim, some people are using Zillow, some people are using Realtor.com, some people are using Trulia. You got front door, left door, right door, garage door, doggy door. Everybody and their damn brother selling leads to real estate agents. Okay, So obviously there's going to be a variation depending on the program, depending on where it came from, depending on cultivation, so forth. But 0.8 to 1.2 conversion rate if you worked them for 12 months, over a 12-month period, right? So here's another number for you at the bottom, 0.25%. 0.25%, this is the conversion rate typical for a real estate agent in the first 30, 60, 90 days doing lead generation online. How many of you guys have done lead generation online and you get to like month number 2 or 3 and you're like, I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall and going nowhere? Anyone? Anyone? Right? It's a super common story. And the reason being is because it takes 12 months of cultivation typically to start getting the close ratios that are up to, let's say, plus or minus 1%. So in the first 30, 60, 90, this is 1/4 of that, which would make perfect sense, right? So when you start thinking like, if I'm going to trade time for money, should I be spending time trading time for money doing this, or should I spend time for time and money on something that has a better conversion? Okay, 8%. 8% is the conversion rate for people working their sphere of influence when they do a good job and they work it consistently and they add value consistently. They're not just acting like a panhandler. They're actually adding value. They're actually being connected. They're actually building a relationship. They're actually staying in communication. They're staying top of mind, right? 8%. So let me ask you guys, okay, business question. And I know people don't ask a lot of business questions in the real estate world. Business question. If you could spend money on leads and get a 1% conversion, or spend next to nothing and get an 8% conversion, which business should you be focused on? Most of our industry is constantly being distracted with and chasing after and going after leads still. Listen, guys, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just simply saying for most of you, it is not a good business plan. For most of you, you have 8 times more potential for success working and building a sphere of influence than you do doing lead generation online. Now, listen, if you don't have enough people in your sphere of influence and you don't have the ability to get out and do fun things and connect with people, and you need to actually do some lead generation online to pay money to get that flow and get that funnel and get the names and get the lists so that you have a list that you can work to build that sphere, to build those relationships long-term, I'm all for that, right? But if you're sitting back going like, okay, do I have a list of all the people in my sphere of influence, name, address, phone number, email address? Do I have that list together? If you don't, you should start doing that first, right? So let me ask you guys another question. If I'm going to go outside and collect rain and I have a bucket, should I patch the bottom of the bucket, the hole in the bottom of the bucket, before or after I go out to collect rain?
Definitely before. Definitely.
Seems a lot easier. Can you imagine somebody bailing water with a bucket with a hole in it in a boat? They're working 5 times harder than they need to. Can they get some water out of the boat? Absolutely. But they're working their butt off. If you patch the bucket doesn't leak, and then you start throwing water out of the boat, you can bail water way faster and save yourself way faster. And what we find is a lot of people are in the boat with their bucket with no bottom in it, and they're just flailing that bucket all over the place. And they're like, this sucks. It feels like I'm going nowhere. Because you are. So once you realize that your sphere of influence is your number one best and biggest return on investment almost all the time, for almost everybody that works it works substantially better. Should you be working on the sphere of influence first or working on other?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you do a half donkey job. Let's say you half donkey it, right? 8%, and you're like, I half donkeyed it, Russ. I didn't do a good job working my sphere. I half donkeyed it. I only got a 4% conversion on my sphere of influence. So let me ask you guys a business question. If you could have a 4% conversion or a 1% conversion, which should you work on? Okay, so some of you guys might not still be with me yet. So let me make sure we take this to the extreme so you remember it, okay? What if I quarter donkey it, right? And I only get a 2% conversion on my sphere of influence because I'm not doing a great job with it. Should I do 2% on my sphere of influence, or should I do 1% going out and purchasing leads, buying leads?
2% sphere.
Yeah, guys. So, like, people have talked about, like, Russ, well, people always tell me I got to work my sphere. People tell you to work your sphere all the time, but they don't tell you that. Right? So, like, part of my job and part of why I am where I am is I've always found weird ways of explaining things to people so they go, oh, well, now that you said it like that, now I get it, okay? Making complicated things simple is what we should be doing as real estate agents. So when we sit in front of a listing, my job is to make it so simple they make a great decision. A lot of people go in and they just baffle them with bullshit for so long that people are finally like, just I'll sign the damn papers, just get out of my house, right? That's the technique a lot of real estate agents use. My technique in doing a listing appointment was, let's see how simple I can make it. So Jim, you understand what we're doing. And then once you understand what we're doing, what do you think we should do next? Well, let's do it. Let's do the deal. Let's run the deal. Let's list the house. Okay. Make it so simple that they understand, and then they know why we're doing what we're doing. And then when they know why we're doing what we're doing, when things aren't going as expected and the house isn't selling, they don't call me and be like, hey, Russ, well, what are you doing to sell my house? And what is your marketing doing to sell the house? They already know if the house isn't selling at the price we listed it, it's because the house isn't priced right. Period. Right? We're going to do all the marketing the professional real estate agent does. We're going to get all the eyeballs on it. And if all those eyeballs get on it and nobody buys the house, it tells us we're overpriced. If we get some eyeballs on it and people decide to come look at it, that means we're getting closer. If we get some eyeballs on it, people come take a look at it, and people start writing offers and write an offer that we can accept, that's when we know we're the right price. How do you know for sure you're the right price?
Being sold.
Sold. They're like, well, Russ, I don't want to give away my house. Okay, cool. You're trying to give it away. You're giving away your house and nobody's taking it. Does that mean that's the right number? So far, you're the highest bidder on your house. Nobody agrees that your house is underpriced. No one. Trust me, if your house is underpriced, I would buy it myself and I'd go back and resell it and make myself an extra 20 grand. But I'm not making you that offer because I don't think it's worth it either. So we got to get to the point where we get it. Make sense and keep it simple, right? So does this make sense and keep it simple for you guys? You should be working on your sphere of influence. Yeah. Okay. One more number on my list I hadn't touched yet, 63%. Do you know what that 63% is? 63% of sellers last year said that they chose somebody they knew, liked, and trusted to list their house. 63% of sellers said they used somebody they were in a relationship with. Now, a couple things. That means 37% of people used other, right? Which means we as an industry could do better. Jim, are you cool with it if your people list their house with somebody else?
Absolutely not happy about it.
Mark, are you good if one of your friends lists their house with somebody else? No. The answer is no, right? So one of the things that we've got to start doing and thinking is, okay, if 63% of listings, people listed their house, sold their house with somebody new, liked, and trusted, we need to make sure we're doing the things that make us to be that person that is known, liked, and trusted. Right? So ignore all the other nonsense, ignore all the other BS, ignore all the other people trying to sell you shiny objects. Are you guys getting a couple of really basic pieces of a recipe here yet? Recipe piece number one, I've got to work my sphere of influence. That is the absolute number one most important thing I can do. Now, if there's a tool that helps me do that well and keeps it personal, because it's a personal business, if I've got a tool that helps me do that, good. I'm happy to use a tool that does that, right? I need to cut a piece of wood. I can chew through it with my teeth. I can pick at it with my fingernail for a half an hour and start picking off little pieces of wood and eventually get through. I can also cut a piece of wood with a butter knife. Eventually it'll go, right? Might take me a year, but I'll go. Or I could use my table saw, right? So I'm cool with you using a table saw to make the cut because the cut needs to be made, but I'm not cool with you saying the table saw is going to do the whole thing for me and you throw your wood at the table saw and hope the table saw does it for you, right? I need to be the one operating the tool to make that thing happen. So I'm thinking, how do I build and deepen and broaden relationships? Okay, guys, here's a couple more numbers, a couple more metrics for you. This one actually made me throw up in my mouth a little bit. Okay, check this one out. 14, 11, 8. You might be like, Jim's like, that was the combination in my locker when I was in middle school. I can still remember that.
That's a good one.
Remember those? You're like, spin, 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 spin it back the other way, spin it back the other way, miss it by one, you're dang, and do it again. Right? Remember those?
More like time signatures there.
Yeah, 36, 18, 24. That was my last lock. Okay. 4 years ago, 14% of people said they used the same real estate agent back to back. 3 years ago, 11% of people said they used the same real estate agent back to back. 2 years ago, 8% of people said they used the same real estate agent back to back. I don't know what last year was. I haven't seen the statistic, but I'm sneaking suspicion it ain't going back up, right? So what we're doing as a real estate industry is we're subbing out the relationship a lot of times, and we're substituting the relationship for a lot of the other BS and the other nonsense. We're substituting the relationship with like, well, Russ, I did 45 Facebook posts last week. Listen, guys, Facebook is not a relationship, okay? It is basically the real estate equivalent of catfishing, right? It's not a relationship. Instagram is not a relationship. TikTok is not a relationship, right? You have your core relationship, and then the people see you doing other things. The people, Jeff, you and I have a relationship. I've hung out with you. I hugged your neck, right? Do you see some of the things I do on Facebook?
Yeah.
Is that the relationship?
No, not at all.
No. So we have the relationship, and then when you see something on Facebook, you're like, oh, Russ built another bass guitar, or oh, Russ is at the barbecue again. Oh, Russ's cholesterol's up. Huh, go figure. Have you seen what he's been doing in the backyard on that barbecue? It's no wonder his cholesterol's up, right? It's not the relationship. It's the being visible and being top of mind. It's like, oh, there's Russ again. Oh, there's Russ again. Oh, there's Jeff again. Oh, there's Jim again. Oh, there's Kristen again. Oh, there's Mark. Not just hanging the guitar. He actually plays the guitar. That's super cool. By the way, I have 3 on my wall right here. I have no idea how to play. Oh, yeah. By the way, I have 2 over here. I don't have any idea how to play. I build instruments. I have no idea how to play them. Okay. So with that said, guys, when we're looking at this metric and people are less people using the same realtor over and over, why is that? It's because we also know statistically, after a real estate agent does a deal with a buyer or seller, they don't 90+% of them don't ever contact that person after the closing. Do you know why the buyer's agents don't contact the buyer after the buyer closes on a house? Do you know what the number one reason is? Somebody actually asked a bunch of realtors this and did a survey, and it was fascinating what the answer was. Do you know why? Why do buyer's agents not call the person that just bought a house after they closed on it? You know what the number one reason is?
They're scared.
Of what?
Scared something's going wrong with the house.
Is exactly the answer. They are scared that something's going to go wrong with the house and they're going to get blamed for it. It's crazy, guys. But like, listen, I'm telling you what, this is a cross section of real estate agents, and there's people on here that haven't called that buyer. And if you pin them down on why, the buyer bought a house 3 months ago, you haven't talked to them since then. Why not? And someone would be like, well, why do I need to call them? They just bought a house. Like, I don't know. They bought the house and the husband and wife now hate each other's guts. It's not fixing the problem. They thought, well, if we just buy a new house, it'll fix our relationship. They get into the new house and they still have the same shitty relationship in a different location. And now they really hate each other. And now they have more financial pressure and they're plowing through money doing a bunch of nonsense on the house that they didn't have to do in the first place. And the financial stress gets a little bit higher. And next thing you know, Kristen's like, Russ, you're an asshole. I don't want to live with you anywhere ever. This house didn't fix the problem. It just made it worse. And I'm like, you know what, Kristen, I don't like you anymore either. Like, yeah, a house ain't going to fix it. Getting a dog isn't going to fix it. Having another baby ain't going to fix a busted relationship, right? And they end up getting divorced. And they're like, we're going to file for divorce. Well, they just bought the house 3 months ago and they're going to sell it. By the way, guys, true story. Happened to me in Tampa. I'm like, I'm sorry. Well, Wayne, you what? You just bought the house. And he's like, yeah. Well, we did blah, 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 blah. And he told the story of, we bought the house. We thought a different location. We thought maybe it'd give us, and next thing you know, and they're gone, right? So they end up selling the house. Good news is he bought a house, she bought a house, different locations. So it worked out pretty good for me. Not so much for them, but actually it worked out good for them because they didn't want to be together anyway, right? But when we're starting to look at this attrition, like not using the same real estate agent over and over and over, it's like, guys, how many of you guys have past customers, past clients? How many of you guys have them? None of you. None of you do. None of you do. Ready? I'm going to change your brain here. Ready? None of you have past clients. None of you have past customers.
That's right.
You have people that have done deals with you deals with you, not today, but they're all future customers. They just bought a house, still a future customer. So when we shift our brain from thinking past clients, past customers to they're always a future customer, they may have just bought a house. I don't know whether they're going to do another one in the next week or two or month or two or year or two or 10 or 11 years. I don't even know, right? So when I start shifting my brain to everybody's a future customer, including the people I just did business with, yeah, I had closings with them last year and the year before and the year before and the year before. It doesn't mean they're not a future customer. Everybody's a future customer. Right? My thought was always like, they're like, Russ, how long do you work a buyer? I'm like, I work a buyer. They buy or they die. Like, they're either gonna buy something or die. Either way, we're gonna keep on working them, right? So when I start thinking every single person I meet and every single person I know, every single person I've interacted with is a potential future customer, it changes the way I start to see what I do. Do you know the number one thing that helps you after a buyer closes on a house? The number one thing that'll help you actually stop the nonsense and stop the noise and stop that being afraid of them calling you saying, well, we bought this house, Russ, and this and this and this and this and this went wrong. Have any of you guys ever sold a car to another person you know, your car to a person you know, and you're like, God, I hope this thing doesn't break in the next 6 months. They're going to think I knew something was wrong with it, right? I hate selling a car to somebody I know. Even if they beg me to sell the car to them, I still hate selling a car to somebody I know because I'm afraid something's going to break on that car and they're going to be mad at me for the rest of my life and I'll lose a friendship over a car when I don't know. At the time I sold you the car, it's running fine. You drove it, I drove it, clear bill of health, haven't had anything wrong with it, right? 3 weeks later, water pump blows out. 4 weeks later, the alternator goes out. 5 weeks later, the guy's like, you sold me a lemon. I'm like, whatever. Having a preferred contractor list is one of the top things that you can do in your market. Having a preferred contractor list, it's like the best plumber, your favorite plumber in town, shows up on time, communicates well, does a good job, and it's a fair price, right? Electrician that does a bunch of little small stuff, right? An electrician is capable of doing full panels and so forth. I need a good electrician for high-end stuff. I need a good electrician for low-end stuff. So as I'm building out my sphere of influence and building out the people that I have communication with, you should have a preferred contractor list. And some people are like, well, Russ, I just use Angie's list. Okay, Jim, great. Well, do we know if the people on Angie's list are good or not? I don't know. Do we have personal relationship with them? I don't know. Do those contractors on your list actually live in houses? Yeah. So wait a minute. So if I have my own personal preferred contractor list and I know these people are good because they did a deal with Kristen said they did a good job for her. They were fair price, showed up on time, and communicated well. So can I put them on my list? Yeah. Can I have a couple backups for that? Because, hey, I don't know if their person's going to be available. So I've got 2 or 3 good electricians I can refer. I've got 2 or 3 good handymen I can refer. I've got a gutter guy. By the way, half my neighbors are using my gutter guy. My neighbor next door just used my window person. They did a good job for us. They were a fair price. Neighbor just had windows done by them. Neighbors across the street are getting windows done by the way the roof thing. Guys, I have my preferred contractor list, and people now call me in Detroit. Used to call me all the time in Tampa. They're like, Russ knows everybody. I need whatever. Russ knows everybody. Here's the thing, guys. If they call you when they need a plumber, they're going to call you when it's time to sell a house. If they call you for their flooring guy, your best flooring guy, they're going to call you when it's time to build a house, but buy a house. Not all the time, but most of the time, because you are a resource for them. So when you're thinking about buyer buys a house, say, hey, buyer, when you buy the house, just let me know. If something goes wrong with this house, let me know. I've got a preferred contractor list. If something goes wrong, I probably got a guy that can help you solve it. So don't hesitate to reach out to me if something goes wrong. The average agent's terrified of that buyer calling them after they close on a house. Me, I can't wait for them to do it because now I can become a resource. Say, hey, listen, once we're done with this house, we had an inspection. I looked at it. You looked at it. Your dad looked at it. Your uncle looked at it. The neighbor's dog looked at it. Everybody and their brother looked at it. So anything that happens after this is going to be a surprise to everybody. Sometimes surprises happen. If a surprise happens, let me know because we can connect you with somebody who can help you solve that. Oh, yeah. And by the way, guys, home warranties take a lot of that stress out too. So if you don't get the home warranty, no big deal. It's not the end of the world. If something goes wrong with the house, let me know. We got a preferred contractor list. I can send my guys out there, right? I'll send them over to you. I'll give you my top 2 electricians, give them a call, see which one can show up fast enough and get to you where you need to be. Good. Now I'm providing solutions. Now I'm building a deeper relationship. People call me because they know I can help them solve problems. We start thinking, okay, cool. Can I use AI to do that? Sure, absolutely. Can I drop all of my preferred contractors into my AI and say, hey, create me a good list of all these people? Here's my spot. Every time I go in, I'm going to use AI. I'm like, hey, here's my favorite plumber. Boom, 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 boom. Here's the information. Put it in the spreadsheet. My AI is, by the way, my AI is building a spreadsheet for me right now for my travel expense. I don't know if you guys know, I do about 90,000 miles a year in an airplane in the US, right? 20 something plus events every year that I show up to hug you guys' necks and show up in person. So I've got like my budget for my thing. I'm like, I just go into my AI. I'm like, okay, I need to add an event in Charlotte. It's going to be on this day to this day. I'm going to be in this place and fly this day, fly back in this day. Estimate my budget for me, and boom, it does my estimate. Now I can pop that over to Brian Ellington. I'm like, here's my estimated budget for the next quarter, and he's like, this is nice, right? So things like that. This saves me a ton of time. So can you help build out that contractor list? Absolutely. So your sphere of influence is going to be a big portion of your business. And then you've got that other category. By the way, guys, do contractors live in houses? Oh, by the way, guys, does the carpet guy know that Jim is going to sell his house before I know he's going to sell his house? Because Jim calls the carpet guy. He calls me and he's like, hey, Russ, who's your carpet guy? And I'm like, hey, we use Reamer Floors right up the street here. And they're like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll give them a shout. And yeah, get Mohammed. He's the guy, right? He's right up there. Super cool dude, knows his stuff. And he'll work you a deal. Say, hey, Russ told me you'd give me a deal. Mohammed likes to haggle. It's part of his culture, right? Like he knows you're going to want a deal. And he loves to haggle. So tell him like, hey, Russ said you're going to give me a deal. He's, oh, Russ always says you're going to give me and it's to haggle with the guy, right? Whatever he tells you is knock 20% off. Start there. And he'll work a deal with you because he likes doing deals, right? So next thing you know, why is Jim doing his floors? I was like, hey, Jim, what are you doing the floors for? Well, I wanted to get the floors done before I had you come over to list my house because the floors look like, and I don't want my real estate agent to see what my dog has done to the carpet or us. I didn't want you to know we live like pigs. Okay, cool. Plumber, that stupid thing that's been leaking. Let's get that fixed before we invite the real estate agent over, right? So we call contractors a preferred contractor list. We call them an upstream model. You know what an upstream model is? If I throw a rubber ducky in a mile upstream, guess what? An hour or so later, rubber ducky goes by. Upstream, right? So business is starting, the process of selling their house starts before they get to the real estate agent. Like do a little bit of housework, get the honeydew list taken care of, get the carpet taken care of, get that plumbing thing fixed. And then once we get the house cleaned up to a certain point, have you guys ever showed up at a listing appointment like, where we got some things we need to do before we list the house, Russ? You ever had that happen? Some people do that. Most people, a lot of people do that before they even call the real estate agent. By the time they call the real estate agent, they got a lot of the big rocks handled, right? So tap into that upstream modeling by having a preferred contractor list. And then, by the way, when I get the listing, I'm like, hey, by the way, when you got the listing, if anything's going wrong with the house, and by the way, you turn down the home warranty, which covers a seller during the time you're listed. So you turn that down. By the way, if something breaks during the time you're listed, which happens all the time, they're like, that thing's never made that noise before. Not until you list it. It's Murphy's Law, right? If something like that happens, just let me know. I got a preferred contractor list and I've got Wally. Wally will come over and fix a bunch of nickel and dime crap for next to nothing, right? He'll come in and do a whole punch list of nickel and dime crap for $400. So you have the solutions built in. Now, do I stand out as a listing agent? Now, do I stand out as a buyer's agent? Buyer, if you have a problem, yo, we'll solve it. That's like, isn't that a Vanilla Ice line? Ice baby. I got you ready to go, man. We're gonna make this thing chill out. We got this. Okay. So start thinking as we're building business. Sphere of influence is some of it. And then there's other people that we have as referral partners that are gonna be part of it too. Is that sphere of influence still? Yeah, it's just a different version of sphere of influence. How many of you guys are convinced now you should be working your sphere of influence more? Do it with a little more intent, right? And I know I've done this before, and Jeff, I know you've heard me say this before, and you guys probably been around and you've seen me talk about anything real estate related before. You've heard me say this. Super, super important that you are the resource for everybody in your sphere of influence for what is actually going on in the market. Let me ask you guys a question to help drive that home. When you meet somebody and they ask you what you do, and you tell them you're a real estate agent, what's the next question they ask? Every time?
How's the market?
Wait a minute, that happens to you guys too?
Oh, yeah.
Almost every time?
Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, pick your feet up off the ground, right? Get your feet off the floor because I might smash a toe or six here. We'll steamroll some feet. If you don't get your feet up, I'm going to steamroll some stuff, right? We as an industry, we as real estate agents do the shittiest job of answering that question of almost every profession, right? We're horrible at answering that question because the problem is in the industry, almost everybody and their brother has been teaching these garbage techniques that give you garbage results and actually help alienate you from the people that ask the question. So when somebody asks you a question and then you do the typical what you've been trained to do. How many of you guys were trained to have an elevator pitch? How many of you in the course of using your elevator pitch, somebody asks you how's the market, you say your elevator pitch, and Jeff, they look at you and they're like, oh my God, dude, tell me more. Ever? No. And then the people are like, well, Russ, the elevator pitch is just the word you say. And the goal is, Russ, the real goal, right? This is the next level elevator pitch stuff. Because this was like about 10 or 12 years. They started going like, well, the next level of those elevator pitch people are idiots. The goal of the elevator pitch isn't to get them to buy or sell a house. Goal is to get their info. Like, congratulations. You're a next level idiot. How many of you guys have heard people tell that and say that? Yeah. That's the thing, right? Okay. So let me ask you guys a question. How do human beings work? Somebody asks you a question, and then you, in your answer, try to get something from them. Does it typically make a human being want to cuddle you and come closer to you? Or does it make them want to run from you? Kristen.
We're running.
Ladies, when you start to figure out dude's trying to get something from you and you have no interest, that's not what you asked the question for. What do you typically do? You're like, oh, fine. Let me give you my info so I can go on a date with you, even though I want nothing to do with you, right? No. Like, ladies, I've watched it happen to me. You run. Okay? That's normal human being reaction. When you feel like you ask somebody a question and then you feel like they're trying to get something from you, or next level 3.0, forget the elevator pitch. The goal is to get their information. Triple level, third level is, Russ, you need to learn NLP, right? You guys remember those days? NLP, everybody, neuro-linguistic programming, right? And by the way, just like anything else, just like a hammer, it can be used for good or evil. Is neuro-linguistic programming bad? No. Are there ways to say things to get better results? Yes. Should you be thinking and saying those things? Yes. Should you be doing the things that actually get you the results that you want if it's in their favor and our favor? Absolutely. If you're using those tools to manipulate somebody, that's an absolute dog crap way of doing business, right? And there's a bunch of people teaching how to manipulate people with your response. So if somebody asks me a question and I try to get something from them, or I try to manipulate them, how does that typically go? Well, let me tell you what the public thinks. The public thinks that we as real estate agents rank just north of used car salesmen. Are used car salesmen the people with the best reputation? No, because we got a whole industry full of people teaching you how to do dog crap stuff that doesn't work with the way humans work. Okay, so guys, I want you to learn this phrase, learn this sentence, learn how to say this. Okay, would you like me to show you guys how to answer that question correctly? Do you think everybody that's taught this before always thought their way was the best way to do it correctly? Well, we've proven all of those don't really work that good. Okay, so you guys be the judge. Okay, somebody asks me how's the market, I'm going to tell you how I answer. You guys be the judge and tell me if it makes more sense and works more with the way a human being works. Somebody asks me how's the market. My response to them, Jeff, is, you know what, Jeff? I just did a market update last week. Would you like me to send it to you? Hold on. Marker drop. How do human beings work, guys? Here's how a human being works. Somebody asks you a question and then you offer to give them what they asked for. How do they respond?
Wow, that was incredible. Incredible, Russ.
It's the dumbest, simplest thing in the world. I accidentally stumbled onto it a bunch of years ago. I have told thousands and thousands of people this. And every time I say this to people, they go, oh, crap. Why have I been doing it the hard way? Why aren't more people telling people this? Guys, think about it. This is how human beings work. Let me give you a slightly different example that makes the exact same point, okay? I put up a stand, right, with a grill behind me, and the stand at the top, I put a big sign across the top of it that says hamburgers, right? And dude walks up to the counter and he's like, hey man, can I have a hamburger? And I go over to my grill and I'm like this hamburger? And what does he say? Yeah. If the dude asks me for a hamburger and then I offer to give him a hamburger and I don't do something creepy like, would you like this hamburger? If I don't lick the thing in front of him, I can lick it when he's not looking. But if I don't lick it in front of him He's going to take the hamburger every time. Now, guys, listen, are there times, and I had somebody when I was on stage and they're like, well, it doesn't always work, Russ. I'm like, you're right. Absolutely right. Sometimes you're going to have somebody walk up and you're like, hey, man, and you're at the hamburger stand. It's like, hey, man, can I have a taco? You're like, did you see the sign? It says hamburgers, tacos that way. Okay. Does that happen on occasion? Yes. Is there once in a blue moon, somebody's like, how's the market? Hey, I have a market update. Would you like me to send it to you? And they're like, nah. Once in a blue moon that happens, guys. But if the person asks you the question, you offer almost every time, they say yes. And then, guys, what's the ultimate goal of this interaction? The ultimate goal of this interaction is to get their information. And I go, where would you like me to send it, Jim? And Jim does what? Gives me his information voluntarily. I've got something he wants. Where would you like me to send it? He tells me. Guys, we have made this real estate business so ridiculously complicated. And if you realize it's actually a relationship business and affiliated people to those relationships, preferred contractor list / could you have some social media? Sure. Can you have some referrals from people you don't know? Sure. In our network within EXP, we've got referrals flying all over, thousands and thousands of referrals flying around every month. Okay. Could we have some other stuff? Sure. But guys, the majority of your business is going to come from your sphere of influence, and it should. Now I'm thinking, okay, well, gee, Russ, now that I know that, could I build a business plan around that? Sure. Guy, Kristen, what do you like to do for fun?
Go to concerts.
Cool, right? Do you ever meet human beings when you're at a concert?
Yes, I do.
Do any of them ever talk about their business? You're like, hey, what do you do for a living? Does that ever come up?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so could I set up a business plan where like twice a month I go to a concert and the goal of being at the concert is enjoy the heck out of the music and meet 3 people? And they're like, hey, what do you do for a living? And they're like, blah, blah, blah. What do you do for a living? Real estate agent. How's the market? Funny you ask. I just did a market update. You want me to send it to you? Sure, great. Where would you like me to send it? Doink, 3. Now I just added 6 people to my sphere of influence this month going to concerts. 6 times 12 is 72. 72 people. What's 72 divided by 8? Let's just say 6 something, 7-ish or so. Can I do 6 or 7 more transactions the next year with people I met at a concert? Over time, I'm going to work those people in my sphere of influence. My whole sphere is people I've watched music with. Now it's like, hey guys, we're going to get together and go watch this. Next thing you know, you got 20 or 30 of your people that are in your sphere of influence to go to the concert with you. Do they become your rabid fans? Absolutely. Now you're building a lifestyle business. It's a ton of fun. Instead of going to the concert and feeling guilty because you hadn't had a closing in the last 30 or 60 days and you're spending money that you don't have and you're hoping you get more business, should you be working on your business or going to a concert? So instead of guilt tripping yourself for going to have fun, when I go and have fun, by the way, how many of you guys like to play pickleball? How many of you guys have a couple extra LBs around the waist like I do that I'm trying to work my fatness into fitness again? And you should probably be playing more pickleball. Yeah. Put your hands up, wave them around, right? How many of you guys like golf, right? How many of you guys like bowling? How many of you guys like walking, biking, swimming, running, doing anything where there's other human beings? Anything that you can do that has other human beings, be intentional about doing that. When I play pickleball, I go and play the pickleball thing. I've done it one time. It was freaking fascinating. And about every half hour, you do whatever, 2 or 3, whatever, they put me on the court and they put me with 3 other people that I don't know. Well, after playing pickleball with them for an hour, guess what? I know Jeff pretty good now. I know Jim pretty good now. And I know Kristen pretty good now, right? And we're sitting on the bench sipping some water and like, hey, Jim, what do you do for a living? Well, how are you here on a Wednesday afternoon in the middle of the day? And Jim's like, well, I do whatever. And they're like, what do you do, Russ? I'm a realtor. How's the market? Got a market update. Want me to send it to you? Great. Boom. 3. I play pickleball, 3 people a week. That's 12 in a month, 144 in a year, plus or minus 10 sales you can do over time by adding value to them over time. So now can you see how from a real estate business perspective, I would be doing those things, get myself in shape, start showing up, start participating. By the way, go to church more. The goal is build relationships and be consistent. And some of you might say, well, Russ, how do I do a real estate market update? Jeff, I've got a video on how to do a real estate market update. Would you like me to send it to you? Guys, can I teach you something about sales? Have something people want and they'll want it. It's literally that easy. Okay. By the way, Jeff, I've got a system on how to build a business like this. It has 8 modules and a bunch of moving parts that go along with it. And you can kind of walk through the 8 modules and it kind of shows you how to build this type of sphere of influence business. Would you like me to send that to you?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I just told you what I do and how I sell stuff, and I just did it to you, and you still fell for it. Guys, have stuff that people want, and they'll want it. Okay, so Jeff, just for you, none of you guys are allowed to write this down. Jeff, just for you, go to jumpstartmasterclass.com. I see you put your head down. Stop it. It's not for you, Jim. Kidding. I know you guys are going to bootleg this whether I do it or not, right? Jumpstartmasterclass.com. You're going to go in there. It's a thing called School, SKOOL. And there's modules in there. Go to the classroom. And in the classroom, there's all the different variations, the videos that can walk you through the system. It's a couple hours worth of training and a bunch of little nickel and dime parts and pieces to go with it to help build a sphere of influence business. Okay. You'll go in there and you'll be like, well, Russ, it says $7. You got a 7-day window. Go in there and bootleg everything out of there in 7 days, right? If you want to stick around for another 7 days or another month, you want to stick around for another month and take your time going through it, it's $7. The reason it's $7, guys, is my business partner actually put that together for me. And he put together the clone version, which is this one, is the clone version of our unlimited closings program that he sells. This is the clone free version of what was the free version of it. And he's like, yeah, I give it away. I gave it to 3,500 people in like a year and a half. And he's like, dude, you know how much money that costs every month to keep that thing going with 3,500 people? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I didn't know there was a cost to it. And he's like, yeah, you dummy. Of course there's a cost to it. So he's like, we got to charge something. I'm like, whatever. Just tell me what the number is. So he came up with $7. Like, okay, whatever. $7 a month. Okay. So go in there. If you want to stick around for a couple of weeks, hit the $7 a month, go through the modules, do the activities. It shows you how to build a sphere of influence business. Once you get that stuff going, guys, you want to go next level with sphere of influence. EXP University has a database and sphere of influence training class, which is 2 hours that I've facilitated a couple of times on how to build the big systems behind the bigger stuff and how to do events and how to build bigger stuff with sphere of influence. Okay. If you guys need to add people to your sphere of influence because you don't have enough people in the bucket yet, I do the session on Instagram. You'll see that again coming up soon. There's a session on open houses. And by the way, guys, if you do open houses right, and you do them the way they teach in the open house class, Candace and Alyssa do a great job of teaching the open house class. The open house class can get you 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 people every week that you can add to your sphere of influence, right? So add that and then start building relationships. Okay, guys, we've got a thing coming up on YouTube. How many of you guys have a good YouTube channel working well? If you don't, super important because the MLMs are pulling a lot of stuff out of YouTube, particularly Gemini, uses almost exclusively YouTube to pull for, you say, best agent in whatever town. Gemini is going to pull the ones that have the best YouTube stuff. Okay. So we got a session coming up on YouTube. We got a session coming up on how to price a house. For those of you that are in a market that's pulling back a little bit, I cut my teeth in the beginning years on pricing a house. And then when I learned to price a house, and I learned how to do price reduction and price reduction and price reduction and price reductions, because properties in Tampa went from whatever the price was down 50% over 3 years in Tampa from 2006, 7, 8. And the condos and townhouses went down between 75 and 90. Everything was price reduction conversation. So we got a 4-hour session on pricing and how to price and how to talk people through that conversation coming up. So if you guys want to see that, go to expuniversity.com, click on training, and they're all in there. So you can jump in and do the things that add people to your sphere of influence and then add value to them long-term. Do the stuff in Jumpstart Masterclass as a starter. If you guys need more business fast, make sure you do Fast Cap. Do the stuff in my thing right there, then do Fast Cap, and it'll leapfrog you guys. Good?
Great stuff. Thank you, Russ. Any last minute questions before Russ takes off? Anything? Simple, practical things. We do make it harder than it is. We complicate this so much. We all do. I do.
It can't be explained with stick figures. It's too complicated.
Yeah. I hear you. So great stuff. So jumpstartmasterclass.com.
Yep. Jump in there, pop through that, and then check out EXP University, guys. It's so much great stuff going on.
So much great stuff in EXP University. So, yep, for sure. Russ, thanks for all you do for all of us. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Guys, the recording will be posted tomorrow probably, and we will be here tomorrow. Same time, same Zoom link for just the open mastermind. Come join us. We'll talk about anything and everything. Whatever you guys want to talk about, it's always good. And then, here we go. Thank you, Russ. Have a great day. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you.
Out here on the grind, chasing dreams in the sun. From the Gulf to the hills, yeah, we're getting